guys, and welcome to my monthly manuscript. I am the writer behind this channel, Dion Abulela, and if you've followed my other videos, you know that I am currently writing a manuscript a month and coming on to YouTube to tell you all about the process. So excited! So I have introduced my channel to you in past videos where I select a genre and a plot device out of my jars, and that tells me what I'm going to write that month. So this month I am writing a journey and return and a drama. Last video I talked about drama, and I kind of feel like we should change this month's theme to tragedy because, you guys, this morning, actually while I was curling my hair, I found my first white hair. So I just feel like this month is tragic. I mean, I did make it until I was 36, so I think I'm doing fairly well to be so close to 40 and just find my first white hair. Am I right? So today what we're going to talk about is the hero's journey, because I've already talked about drama, and the hero's journey is my plot device. So there is a wonderful book that I will link below in the comments that talks about the 7 different types of plot devices and how they can be used to push your story forward. And if you understand the 7 different types of plot devices, whether or not you choose to plot your book, it's okay, because you can have an idea of at least how to push that story forward. So with the hero's journey, we typically look at about 1/4 to 1/3 of the book being centered around what a character knows, and the other 2/3 to 3/4 of the book, that hero is in the unknown, and they're exploring kind of what they're made out of and going through different experiences and growing as a person while they're on this great journey in the unknown. So some kind of examples would be Homer's The Iliad and the Odyssey. My list for today, I spilled my coffee on them, so I ruined my notes. But look at my beautiful new pin that I got. Isn't that gorgeous? And it actually, the glitter, I love it. So even though I ruined almost everything on my desk today with coffee, I saved my pen. So when you first meet your hero, they get some sort of call to adventure. And in the case of this month's book, it's either going to be The Journey of a Baker's Dozen, which was the original working title when I was thinking of it, but then I thought that's kind of silly because Journey is something that I pulled this month, so I think I'm just going to go with Baker's Dozen. But in the case of Genvieve, her call to adventure is her bakery closing and realizing that someone that she held near and dear to her heart, her business partner and former almost sister-in-law, actually bankrupted her. And so she has a choice to make between investing everything into trying to save her bakery or trying to sort of find herself, and she decides to go. So that's her call to adventure. Most times in a hero's journey, there's some sort of supernatural aid that helps push them over the threshold. And given that my book doesn't feature any magic or magical realism or fantasy or anything of that nature, that supernatural aid is just going to kind of be a flashback to her wedding. And it's sort of the only way that at this point in time I could think of a way to really push her forward and get her out of the challenge that she's in. So instead of having a really strong supernatural push or supernatural thread to this piece, it's going to be more about memories and sort of like that haunting ghost of her ex-fiance that is pushing her forward. And normally a hero at the beginning of this sort of first act in this type of book, about this point, there would be the threshold that the hero has to cross. And there's some kind of guardian that keeps them from moving over that line. But in this case, the only guardian is really Genvieve. She realizes that she doesn't have that much holding her there. And she's not only the adventurer in this case, she's also the guardian. So once she crosses over that threshold, this is where the real fun begins. And her cross over that threshold is with the closure of her bakery. She's going to Paris to finally learn how to make macaroons. And of course, she could do this somewhere like New York City or San Francisco or Chicago or anywhere, but she wants to learn from the masters, and she's never really allowed herself to just do something unplanned and spontaneous before because it's just not in her family's character. So she jumps that threshold, and this starts her transformation. So for the next 2/3 to 3/4 of this book, mine is laid out pretty close to be about 3/4 of the book. She'll be on this arc, and the arc, the bottom part of the circle, if you're picturing like a circle, so we have the cut here, so this is the threshold, and a little bit up here of her known, and a lot down here for her unknown. So we're currently running around the unknown. She's going to start meeting people that are going to mentor her on her journey and help her through challenges and temptations. And then she experiences great rebirth. And the rebirth comes when she makes it to Rome. She meets someone who encourages her to just get out of her comfort zone completely and join him on a couple of countries that she never would have dreamed of going to learn some desserts that she's never even heard of before. And in the process of doing that, once she returns to Rome, she's feeling so alive and full of herself and ready to tackle anything. And then she gets robbed. And in the process, she says something to the robbers, and they say something really, really mean back to her. And it just breaks her completely down to where she feels like all the strength that she's developed has just been ruined and taken away from her, and everything that she has learned about herself is completely invalid, and so she kind of dies again, and we have to go back through another transformation. She has to find her atonement, and then she returns. So this is my hero's journey. But also the problem here is that since I'm writing a drama, it's not necessarily supposed to have a happy ending. So once we do get back to that very top of the node, that little bit of arc at the top, I don't know why I'm talking like a child today. So once we get back over that threshold into the known, and we are now on this side of that arc, I have to still throw some sort of obstacle in her way to complete the drama. Tie all of this in to where that drama hits her hero return and keeps going. So the lessons that she's learned through the entire arc are going to have to be challenged in the end of it, and I'm really excited for this. I think I've come up with a great ending. So that's basically the way that a hero's journey works. It's just a big cycle. They go out and they come back, and along the way they have to go through transformations, and they have to sort of have some sort of rebirth, and they have to be tested, and there should be a mentor along the way that helps them. In this particular book, Genvieve has 13 smaller mentors in the form of different chefs that she works with, and hence learning the 13 different recipes ties into the title of A Baker's Dozen. So she has 13 mentors, and she has this little journey. And like I said last video, no, it is not Eat, Pray, Love. And I know writing this right now that I'm going to get that comparison a lot, and I'm just going to have to deal with it. But I think that this is going to stand out enough in terms of having something different to offer and being a little bit more of a challenge and not just a glorification of privileged travel. So I don't think it's gonna, we'll have to break over those Eat, Pray, Love comparisons simply because it's a female traveling. And I think that's sad. But that's literature for you, isn't it? Everything has a comp, and everything will be compared against something until the end of time. And at least going into this book, I know to expect those comparisons. So that is a little bit about the hero's journey, and let's get an update to A Baker's Dozen so far. Let me pull up my spreadsheet real quick. As of right now, I'm averaging 4,050 words a day, so I'm a little bit, I'm not quite where I want to be per se. I need to write about like 63,000 more words. So now that I've told you all about drama and a little bit about the hero's journey, how the hero's journey applies to the story that I am writing this week, we'll see how well I can stick to that, and if I can make my hero's journey have that grand dramatic exit, And I'm also going to have some really fun videos coming up for you that kind of dip away from the writing process and showcase some pieces that I love for growing your author platform and your author business. So I'm super excited for these. I cannot wait to share them, and that is all coming up this week. As always, you guys don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because this really helps grow my channel, helps me get exposure, and helps me know that these videos are something that I should keep doing. So leave me a comment. I love your comments. I love to respond to all of your comments, and I love to see what you're doing as well. So your comments lead me to your channel to where I can find out a little bit more about you too. And I would love to write with you. Alright guys, this is Dion Abulela signing out for today. I have about 8,000 words to write today to get to where I want to be on this manuscript. So I'm going to go type really, really fast, and I'll see you next week. Bye!